Hey, what's going on, everyone? Good to see y'all here. Today is Saturday. It's 10:16. I'm about an hour and 15 minutes behind today, so apologize for that. And I missed last Saturday, so there's that. We had some slight family emergency and a trip to the ER, but everything is good and well, and I am back in the seat today. It is a brisk Michigan winter day. No snow on the ground. It did rain yesterday, rain and snow, but it melted all the snow for the most part. So it's I don't know what would we say. It's muddy and yet frozen. So it's kind of weird. But it's cold. That is for sure. It is a cold morning. So, anyway, what I want to do today is make it to chapter 6 here in Jay Abraham's book, getting everything you can out of all you've got. And so far, we've gone through quite a bit. Even in these first few chapters, we've managed to cover a lot of ground. And so in this chapter today, we're going to talk about the unique selling proposition. And if you have been at all a part of any of these previous episodes, you've probably heard me mention your USP before. Again, I think it's stated best, and I'm going to be repeating this probably for the rest of my life, but Dan Kennedy had said it the best. He said, basically, in your USP, your unique selling proposition, what you're doing as a company or a business is you want to establish why somebody should buy from you and not buy from somebody else, and or do nothing at all. So as you're kind of thinking through, like, what does that mean? You essentially want to be thinking about, there's a competitor down the road. Why should I not go buy from them? What is it that's distinct, unique? What capabilities do you have that should motivate my need to purchase this product or service from you and not somebody else, or just sit on my couch and actually not purchase anything from anyone around this product or service? And so creating your unique selling proposition is critical, because it should be added to all of your marketing collateral. You should have your salespeople alluding to your USP. You should be restating it for the morale to your staff. And so today, what I just want to, I say briefly, it kind of depends on how this goes. But I do want to just talk about what it is in your USP, what makes it important, how do you as a company establish your USP, and how do you begin to define it, and how do you sharpen it? I will say this, once you have a USP, once it's in place, it does make an enormous difference in how you think about your business. So knowing what it is that's unique about your company, first of all, if you don't know what that is, it's really good for yourself to clarify what it is that's unique about the business that I have. And you begin to get a sense of pride. You begin to carry yourself a little bit differently. You begin to know why it is that you should be existing as a company. So right now, after this crazy year, if you're struggling to get back into the motivation of why you do what you do, it's really important to begin to redefine what it is that's unique about your company. What is it that's unique about what your business offers? And why that's so important is not only does it define it for your clients, your customers, but it also redefines it for you. It helps you begin to re-engage with your product or service. It begins to reestablish your own position and why you do what you do. So this is a good reset. So because, it's January, and it's January 16th. And because of that, you should really be thinking about what is it that's different. So this chapter, it's called Viva Law Difference. And that's what it's about. Jay Abraham says, in order to stand above the crowded marketplace, you must offer your client a unique and distinct advantage to buy from you and not your competitor. So again, why should someone buy from you, not the store down the street? If you don't know what it is, you need to start by asking yourself what that is. It's a really good clarifying question, because If you're not asking this, there's a deeper value, intrinsic value aspect of asking yourself this question. Because really, when it comes down to business, we all know the adage that business is about solving problems. So once you've identified the problem that you want to solve for the world, you need to understand, why should they buy from you? I mean, why are you going to go into business if you already know people solve this problem already? There's no need. So for you to start a business in this regard, is a basic prerequisite is that you think you can offer something that's distinct from what already exists. So it's important that you establish what that is in your head. And so once you get that done, you begin to incorporate it into everything. So Jay goes on to say, so one of the questions is, how do I begin? In fact, I'm going to be teaching a whole course on how to establish your unique selling proposition. If you haven't yet, I encourage you to go to graftedin.io. On the homepage, you'll see a place to sign up for our email newsletter. And what I'm going to be doing there is I'm going to be sharing, once I complete the USP, the unique selling proposition course, I'm going to offer it to free for anyone that's on that email list. So I encourage you to do that, sign up, and then I'll let you all know once that's done. And it's just going to be a way of some lessons on how to establish it. Now, Jay goes through a few brief ways to begin to think about it. This is not comprehensive. I mean, this is a short chapter. It might be I think it's only about, 15 pages. So it's not a comprehensive course on establishing your unique selling proposition, but it does happen to cover a lot of ground. So one of the first places he talks about is asking your staff. So just going to your staff and saying, what is it that's unique about us that our competitors don't have or do? And you'd be surprised at what they could come up with. So if you have a large staff, I would say just go through each one and ask them that question and see what kind of continuity there is amongst the answers. The other one is ask your clients, ask past customers, begin to ask them questions as to why did they purchase from you and not the competitor. What you're trying to get at is, hopefully it's not just based on price, because if that's the way that you're winning in business, it's a limited success rate, because there will always be somebody who will come along and beat you based on price. Price is the quickest way to lose in the game of marketing. And we go back to Kmart. Nobody thought anybody could beat Kmart, and then came along Walmart, and nobody thought Walmart could be beaten, and then Amazon has come along and showed us wrong in both of those cases. And so you want to begin to just hear the language that makes you unique. Jay goes on to say, your entire marketing and operational success should be built upon your USP. So once you establish what that is, you should begin to utilize that everywhere, so people know. You begin to answer. Anytime you can answer an objection before it's asked, it increases your trustworthiness. So you want to be thinking 2 steps ahead of your customer. One of those primary steps is, why should I buy from you and not somebody else? And if you can label that, if you can ensure that that's portrayed and conveyed to them before they even ask the question, you've already kind of won the battle there. He says the possibility for building a USP is unlimited. It's best, however, to adopt one that dynamically addresses an obvious void in the marketplace that you can fill. My assumption is that if you've gone into business because you've seen a need that wasn't fulfilled. And maybe it's been so long since you started it that maybe you've forgotten what that is. But you need to begin to go back and begin to ask yourself, why did I think it was necessary for me to build this? I mean, there was already somebody doing it. Why didn't I just say, order that product or service from them and point other people to go buy from them? What was it that was so important that made you go, I need to actually build this? I actually need to provide this solution because I'm not seeing it in the marketplace. And those little nuances differentiate you if you can just remember what they are. And so he says, how do you pick a USP? You must first identify which needs are going unfulfilled within your industry. And then he gives a big list of what those are. He says it could be a broad selection. It could be advice and assistance, convenience. It could be top of the line products or services. It could be speedy services. It could be services above and beyond the basics, a distinct tangible or an intangible benefit, and on and on and on. The point is to focus on one niche, need, or gap that is most sorely lacking, provided that you can keep the promises you make. Now, there's two elements here that are really important. One thing when it comes to marketing, if you've watched any of the past things, is the first place you want to start is picking a niche within your industry. Start with marketing to one niche at a time. And I'm still working on a book about that very concept. And the same is true with your USP. You could pick a USP based on that niche, a specific niche that you supply a need for. And that could be a USP that's specific for them. So you could focus on that, or a need or a gap that's lacking. He says you can even create a hybrid USP combination that integrates one marketing gap with another. Before you decide on a USP, be sure that you always deliver it. So that's the other part. It's not enough just to say that that's why you're distinctively different. It's really critical that you can actually provide that quality of product and or service. So he goes on to give some examples of USPs. I mean, he gives quite a bit. He talks about clarity, bringing clarity to your USP. It needs to be really specific, preferably one sentence. He talks about how people do it wrong by giving examples, of different contractors, companies that have given very generic USPs, which just doesn't convey much value to the customer. He gives examples of service-oriented ones, niche-oriented ones, quality ones. And then he talks about reinforcing that USP in all your print collateral. Again, that's obviously critical. You will not appeal to everyone. In fact, USPs are designed to differentiate your customer crowd. So that's another thing. Like the more that you can highlight the crowd that you want to speak to, and you're actually going to unqualify specific people that you don't want to purchase from you, it begins to carry much more weight, much more distinctibility. And in fact, you begin to work with customers that you want to work with versus trying to qualify them and go through other ones. So that's another aspect. Depending on how much time it takes for you to qualify your existing customers, you may want to utilize your USP to disqualify people that you don't want. They are designed to appeal to only one segment of a market. There's a vast gulf between the upscale clients and the bargain seekers, and you can't reach them both. So if you want to be running to the lowest bargain, best, cheapest price, that's not going to make you attractive to the person who's looking for the highest quality at a premium price. So this is why a USP is important, because you need to establish one of the two. Which ones do you want to serve? He talks about getting with the program. Basically that you need everybody else within the industry or within your company to talk about that very thing. Backing it up. Here's an example. When Stouffer's rolled out its lean cuisine frozen entrees, they weren't simply selling frozen food. So let's just assume for a minute you just put this is a frozen food meal. That's what a lot of people have done with their USPs. They've generalized them to the industry standards. But Stouffer's lean cuisine, that wasn't the goal. Their USP was selling the idea of high-class dieting to an increasing health-conscious populace. Lean cuisine wasn't targeting its USP at people looking for frozen entrees and dinners. It was focused on consumers who would be attracted to the idea that the food was convenient, tasty, and compatible with a helpful, weight-conscious lifestyle. So that's one. Financial advisor Howard Ruff built a $20 million newsletter empire back in the 80s by putting himself in a unique and distinctive position in his marketplace. Most of the other financial advisors took the position that they were big-time Wall Street pros and they were trying to appeal only to the affluent investors. However, Howard took the opposite approach. He said, I am the financial advisor to the middle class, and I want to protect your interest at a different level. I know how hard you work to make a dollar. I know how important it is that you don't want to lose it. I know how critical your retirement money is to you. I respect your situation, and I will approach it differently than anybody else. That USP rings so true that hundreds of thousands of middle-class investors flocked to him. So that's just creating a USP out of a void that exists in the marketplace. So he gives time and time again examples. In fact, that most of this chapter is built on examples of USPs. It's not easy. I know it sounds easy when I go through a few chapters, and what are we at? We're at about 16 minutes in here. I understand that creating a USP is not easy. In fact, that's why I want to help you if you have not done this yet. So if you have not created your own USP, I'm going to be teaching a class that's absolutely free. All you have to do is sign up on the email newsletter. I will announce once that class is available. It'll be just a couple series of videos and maybe some workbook stuff. But that'll be done by February 1st. So you only got a couple weeks. And then I'm not going to announce it numerous times. I'm just going to share it over the next couple of weeks. And if somebody's on the email newsletter, they're going to get it for free. They're going to be able to access it, give me feedback. And then from there, it's going to be a $99 product, just because I'm going to put a lot more. I'm just going to put a ton of time in it. I already have put a lot of time in it. And I want to try to recoup that by actually benefiting people who need to create a USP. And once you're done, there's a sign of relief that I got it, and you may revamp it. You may pick a different niche. But as of right now, I want you to have access to that at no charge. I may end up charging later. I haven't really decided if I'm going to charge anybody for it later, but I want you to have early access. I want to get all the feedback I can to perfect it and make it even better as the time goes on. USPs are important. You need one. I encourage you to get one, and we'll talk about how to do that in the future. And that's all I have for this chapter today. It's Saturday. I'm going to go hang out with the kids and get on with my weekend, and happy to join you on this Saturday, and we'll see you all next time. Take care.